Hey there, pool lovers. Welcome back to the Only Pools podcast. I'm TK, your DIY pool maintenance guru.
And I'm Brian, owner of AquaServ Pools. Today we're getting our hands wet with DIY pool maintenance. Can you do it yourself? Should you? Or should you call the pros?
You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Dive into discussions, no topics too small. From kiddie pools to water parks, we cover it all. We got pool parties and cannonballs too. If it's about water, we talking to you. Interviews with experts and stories to share. From poolside barbecues to water care. We got tips and tricks to keep your pool right. Listen in the morning or at the late night. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. You down with OPP? Every last homie. Only Pools Podcast. Let's go.
So I know there's a lot of you out there that love the idea of DIY, but let's be honest. Taking care of your pool isn't as easy as throwing a couple of chlorine tablets and calling it a day.
Exactly. You've got to stay on top of things, checking your chemical levels, cleaning out the skimmer baskets, and running your filtration system regularly. But don't worry, it's not all bad news.
You can totally manage basic pool maintenance on your own if you keep up with it. First tip is test your pool water regularly, like once a week. This is the best way to keep your pool water on the right balance, at the right balance.
Get yourself a good pool test kit. It's not an expensive investment, and it will save you from bigger problems down the road. The key numbers to check are pH, chlorine, alkalinity, and calcium hardness.
And don't forget about skimming the pool every day. Every day, pull out the leaves, bugs, or whatever debris might have landed in there. The cleaner your pool is, the less stress on your filtration system you'll have.
You'd be amazed how much easier pool cleaning is when you stay on top of the little stuff. And let's talk vacuuming. It's kind of like cleaning your pool's carpet once a week. Get in there with a pool vacuum and suck up all the dirt and debris that's sunk all the way to the bottom.
How about those times when you just feel like you don't want to vacuum? Can't we just skip it?
Well, we all need a break. But if you want a pool that doesn't look like a swamp, you've got to put in the work. That's why professional pool cleaning exists.
I hear you. Keep the pool clean, check the levels, and vacuum when you can. Sounds like a solid plan.
And if you need help, don't hesitate to call in the professionals like us. We'll keep your pool in tip-top shape so you can just enjoy it.
All right, that's all the DIY advice we got for you today. Thanks for tuning in to the Only Pools podcast. Join us next time when we talk about how to handle pool repairs without losing your mind.
All right, and don't forget to stay and watch us on the Pool Point. Welcome back to the Pool Point, where we break down the art and science of pool care, and sometimes the occasional bad decision. Today's topic, chlorine levels, specifically why they're not optional, no matter how much you wish that they were. Here's the setup. I'm testing your pool water, and the chlorine level is practically non-existent. I bring it up, and you hit me with, well, I don't want too much chlorine. It's bad for my skin. Okay, let's talk about what's actually bad for your skin. Swimming in untreated water, because without proper chlorine levels, your pool isn't a pool. It's a bacteria buffet, a germ jacuzzi. It's a 5-star resort for algae, viruses, and whatever fell in the water last night. Here's the thing, folks. Chlorine is not the enemy. It's the unsung hero of pool maintenance. It kills the stuff you don't want to see, like E. coli, algae, and that mystery film that shows up when you skip a week of cleaning. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've heard chlorine is dangerous. Look, anything can be dangerous if you overdo it. Water is dangerous if you overdo it. It's called drowning. The key is balance. And when I say your chlorine needs to be between 1 and 3 parts per million, I'm not trying to ruin your summer glow. I'm trying to keep you from catching something that requires antibiotics. And let's address another myth while we're at it. If my pool water doesn't smell like chlorine, it's not clean. Wrong. The opposite is true. That chlorine smell everyone hates, that's chloramines. They form when chlorine binds with sweat, sunscreen, and yes, pee. So if your pool smells like a public restroom, that's not because there's too much chlorine. It's because there's not enough. But here's where it gets wild. Some of you intentionally let your chlorine level drop because you think it's healthier. Listen, I'm all for natural living, but your backyard pool is not a koi pond. Chlorine isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. You wouldn't skip soap in the shower and call it organic bathing, so why skip chlorine and call it natural swimming? Now, For the people who still aren't convinced and want to argue, but I don't want my kids swimming in chemicals. First of all, everything is a chemical. Water is a chemical, oxygen is a chemical. Second, without chlorine, your kids are swimming in bacteria. And that's not something that you can just rinse off with a garden hose. So here's the takeaway. Keep your chlorine levels where they're supposed to be. Not too high, not too low, just right. And if you're still on the fence, remember this. A little chlorine keeps your pool crystal clear. No chlorine, well, you better get used to swimming with goggles to avoid eye contact with the algae. Now, that's it for the pool point. Until next time, remember, chlorine isn't the bad guy. It's the bodyguard keeping your pool from becoming a science experiment. Trust me, you'll thank me the next time you take a deep dive without needing a tetanus shot. Thanks for watching. Until next time, just keep swimming.
You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with OPP? Every last homie. You ever go swimming, man? It's so much fun. Now we got a podcast joining everyone, talking about pools, the stories we share, from backyard splashing to Olympic fair. We got chlorine, pH, and filter tips. Keep your pool fresh, avoiding no slips. With hosts so cool and guests so neat, we're dropping pool knowledge that it can't be beat. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. Who's down with OPP? Every last homie. Dive into discussions, no topics too small. From kiddie pools to water parks, we cover it all. We got pool parties and cannonballs too. If it's about water, we talking to you. Interviews with experts and stories to share. From poolside barbecues to water care. We got tips and tricks to keep your pool right. Listen in the morning or at the late night. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. You down with OPP? Only Pools Podcast. Who's down with OPP? Every last homie. O is for only, the best place to be. P is for pools, come dive in with me. P is for podcast, we talking weekly. Only Pools Podcast, the one and only. Grab your goggles and your floaties too. Tune in to our show, we got stuff for you. Poolside chats to aquatic news. Only Pools Podcast, you can't refuse. We teach you how to clean, how to keep it clear. The best pool stories that you'll ever hear. From summer fun to maintenance prep. Only Pools Podcast, we're your best bet. You down with OPP?